Yo, people, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to episode. Oh, not welcome back. Right. Welcome to episode 66 of the Off the Boundary Show. We will discuss everything cricket. We've got some interesting stuff to discuss. Afghanistan beating South Africa in uh, in a series, and a match. What they beat us in a match and they beat us in a series. Crazy. You've got Sri Lanka smashing New Zealand to win in a test match, not even in a T20 ODI. And I've got India who destroyed, demolished, whatever word you want to use, Bangladesh. Um, so yeah, lots to discuss. So let's get straight into it. Yes, people. Let's kick it off. Of course, I'm joined by my co-host Manny. How are you, Manny?
All good, thank you, Bullet. Somewhat different circumstances under which we're meeting, but we still have a commitment to make sure we provide the same content. And as you said, a lot of important and interesting things to discuss. So, time to get this show on the road, eh?
Yeah, let's get started. Um, and then the first one we'll start off probably on a positive note in for cricket. Maybe not so for New Zealand, but for cricket. Sri Lanka beating New Zealand at home in a test match is stuff that you don't think you will ever see again. Um, but they done it, so fair play to Sri Lanka. They beat, of course, England in a test match. Of course, lost the series, but still beat us in a test. And now they've gone on and beat New Zealand. New Zealand are left with loads of questions, and don't know if there are so many answers to there. Um, but let's get straight into him. Of course, Sri Lanka first innings batted first, scored 305. Well, I didn't expect that. And then Kamindo Mendes, the star for Sri Lanka, 114 runs. He scored. You got Kusal Mendes with a 50. So really, really well from Sri Lanka. But the standout from New Zealand in that first innings was Will O'Rourke, who got a 5 wicket haul, 4 maidens, 19 overs, 55 runs. He considered in those 19 overs, so it's pretty good figures, um, especially for a fast bowler. Um, yeah, so it just great innings by Kamindo Mendes and then Will O'Rourke. Um, so then we move on to New Zealand's first innings. Who went right better, and it was a mixed bag, with nobody really getting on with the target. They did get a lead of 55. Tom Latham, Kane Williamson, and Daryl Mitchell, all starring in that with getting scores above 50. Glenn Phillips was in there, one run of 50, but unfortunately, Will O'Rourke could not um, hold his wicket for Glenn Phillips to get his 50. But in that, it was the new star, the new bowler for Sri Lanka. Many you might have to apologize of that pronunciation. Um, Pradap,
It's
Pradap
not too difficult. It's the 4 wicket one, right? Prabhat Jayasuriya.
Jayasuriya. There you go.
Is that the one?
40 overs he bowled, so massive shift from him. 136 four wickets. Again, not a bad economical. All right, so yeah, if you divide that, so not bad. That's really not bad from him. And then we move on to Sri Lanka's second innings, where Dimif Naratne got 83, Dinesh Charimal 61, Angelo Matthews with a 50, uh, Danjanya De Silva, captain, got the 40, and that's really the only standouts there. But they did put on a massive total of what, 275, and then New Zealand before 275. That's not too bad to chase in the second innings, but not really enough power from the New Zealand batters this time around. Tom Latham dismissed with 28. Kane Williamson went for 30. Russian Ravindra was the massive star for them in the second innings. As he got to 92. But of course, today it was just all really simple. Um, Two quick wickets today to end it. But I want to give a massive shout out to Ajay Patel, who bowled for New Zealand in Sri Lanka's second innings. I forgot to mention this. He got 6 wickets in his debut, I believe. 30 overs, he bowled 90 runs. Um, he conceded 8 maiden, so that is phenomenal from him. Also, Will Rock again getting 3 wickets. They so he got 8 wickets this whole Test match, so which is really good. But then again, it's um Chaya Swaria, Chaya yeah, got a five
Sorry.
wicket also. Go on, yeah, not too quickly, correctly. Yeah, he got a 5 wicket all, so he got 9 wickets. So a few stars we under seeing. So, but Manny, I went now through the whole test. What is your overall thoughts about this whole thing?
Well, at least Sri Lanka have been able to find some joy, and obviously now they know that they can count on the likes of Kamindu Mendes to star. This youngster, mind you, made his name in the international cricket circles by being an ambidextrous bowler. His speciality is, of course, left arm spin, but he also does bowl some pretty decent right arm off break. But his batting style is, of course, left handed. And we saw a great deal of his potential, obviously, in the Test series against England when he held up the batting for the most part after one top order failure too many, quite frankly. And although he's only played about 7 tests, he has a very enviable batting average of 74.72. That's basically 400s and 450s in his fledgling test career so far. That is absolutely phenomenal by any standards. Obviously, his limited over stats aren't really that impressive. Good innings of 65 in the T20 international sphere, but Test cricket seems to be so far the period where it seems to be the format where he has found the most joy. Although it must be said that he's only had 7 tests and there will be tougher tests, pun intended, ahead. And his bowling hasn't really been used that much, but when you can bat as well as you clearly can, your bowling ends up becoming a bonus, really. And this youngster really is the new star of Sri Lankan cricket right now, and everyone seems to be playing around him. Kushal Mendes, of course, also contributing as the wicketkeeper with 50 in the first innings, and they were the only two really in that first innings to provide some kind of respectability to the batting scoreline. Uh, and there's a lot of experience in this Sri Lankan team, but so far most of the experienced players have not really stood up to be counted. Um, we must, of course, congratulate Dimuth Karunaratne, who in his first innings got the 2 runs he needed to reach 7,000 runs in Test cricket, but ended up losing his wicket not long afterwards. But in the second innings, he stood up well with an 83. And the thing about the Sri Lankan team is that it's the bowlers who've given them so much joy, particularly the spinners. This fellow Jayasuriya, I don't think he's any relation to Sanath, the legendary master blaster of his day, and yeah, certainly no relation. You could say that he's a namesake, and he's not quite young. He's actually about 1.5 months away from celebrating his 32nd birthday, so he has actually been around the block. But only 15 tests would mean that he's had to bide his time in many ways. But now that he has his opportunity, he's snatched it with both hands, and now is pretty much the linchpin of the bowling attack. And so when it comes to playing in Sri Lanka, I do believe I don't know if England will be playing this soon. Maybe, I don't think so. It may be only in the next cycle. But playing Sri Lanka in Sri Lanka will not be easy for the simple reason that their spinners are the ones that will make headway. And that's one of the reasons why India has been the only team that has had consistent success in Sri Lanka. Of course, obviously, as England fans, we remember that wonderful winter in the early 2000s under Nasser Hussain when we won a series in Pakistan and Sri Lanka. And late great Graham Thorpe was very much a batting mainstay in that team. But if you know how to play spin and how to play spin well, you can succeed. And certainly when we take a look at the New Zealand batting, it was an excellent team innings. I mean, 3 half centuries, a 49 not out, 39 and a 25. So this is a reminder, Hanno, that when you have more and more people chipping in and making starts, yes, you won't get centuries, but you can get a good total. But what that first innings did need was for someone to kick on and get that century, which would really have, given them that psychological boost. And sadly, it didn't happen. And so, as long as Sri Lanka could bowl well, they were always going to be in the game. And then after Karunaratne in the second innings, it was Chandimal and other more experienced players who stepped up. Angelo Matthews also doing quite brilliantly, and looks as though Hanno's gone off for a bit, people, but he will be back, and he should be coming back
I'm
right
back.
now.
Sorry about
Skipper Dhananjay chipping in with 40, lower down the order. And so 275 was, it wasn't going to be a difficult total, but it wasn't going to be easy. And it needed one batsman or two to really anchor the innings. But with Latham and Williamson getting out earlier than expected and Blundell also not lasting very long, Conway and Mitchell also not really doing well, it was left to Ravindra to try and make things happen. And the state of play was that he was not out at the beginning of today's play with New Zealand some 60 odd runs behind. So had he been able to continue to bat well and with the tail, New Zealand would have had a chance. But those quick deliveries from Jayasuriya put paid to all of that. And so New Zealand are going to have to try to bounce back a little bit. They are going to have to make sure they play a little bit more patiently. And a bit surprising that Williamson wasn't quite able to, make so much hay, given that he has been one of the more complete batsmen in recent times. I'd probably go so far to say that he has gone beyond the likes of McCullum and Fleming and company as New Zealand's greatest ever batsman. But a lot will rest on him.
that.
A lot will rest as well on other batsmen too. Yes, Bart.
Um, uh, I listened to a New Zealand fan on Instagram posted something, and it made me think: is it time to maybe move Russian Ravindra up the order? Um, is playing in at number 4. Maybe it's time to push him up and give him that start as an opener. Instead of Devon Conway, because we look Devon Conway 17-4 in these two innings, barely getting over 20 runs against Sri Lanka. Is that really your what you want for an opening batter?
It's a good shout. It's not uncommon for these multi-format batsmen if they play in the limited overs and the Test series. You see some of the more aggressive batsmen open the innings in the limited overs formats or come in at number 3, and in Tests they come in at number 4. So it's not a bad idea. I
Mm.
do think, though, that maybe one of the reasons why they don't want them have Ratchin coming in order is because in Test cricket, for example, you can use the short ball a lot more frequently. Now, does Ravindra have a problem facing short pitched bowling? If he is able to play short pitch bowling well and can, in theory, at least do a better job than Conway has done right now, I would say, by all means, have it a straight swap, because I do believe that both Ravindra and Conway are left-handed. So it would be a straight swap. It wouldn't be a bad idea. My only issue is, would Ravindra feel comfortable being right up at the top of the order, having to face the seamers and a possible barrage of short bowling? Of course, not really, since Chaminda Vas, in my opinion, has Sri Lanka had a truly world-class fast bowler. And, obviously he was left-handed, left-arm seamer. He knew how to swing the ball really well, bowled brilliantly with the old ball. But with the new ball, he also knew how to stick to a terrific line and make sure, the batsmen would be forced into making mistakes and giving their wickets away. And if you see archives of him playing, then you'll know just how magnificent a cricketer he was. And I think he was probably a little bit before your time. In fact, if memory serves me right, he retired in the early part of the 2010s, and you wouldn't have been old enough to have seen him play.
Mm.
But since then, back to the topic, I don't know if Sri Lanka have really been able to produce a quality seamer of note, although I realize that I might be a little bit biased. It's so far the spinners that are making headway. But
Mm.
again, one thing I
No,
will say right
it
now
is.
is that these huh?
No, I just said it is the spinners
Well,
are making the way. Um, but they do. Where's that other fast bowler they have? That youngster that is almost Lasit Malinga esque. Um, that
Patirana.
Patirana guy. Yeah, Patirana. I see.
I don't know if he's involved in the test team. Maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong.
He didn't play yet, so I don't know. I don't think so because yeah, he's the guy. He's the next like fast bowler. So yeah, but um, talking about the Williamson thing. Sorry, not William. Conway thing. Conway does bat for Wellington. Local in New Zealand, their local county league. He does play for them at number 3. So if you bet number 3, number 4, that much difference? I don't know. So yeah. But
Well, I tell you what,
next test.
it certainly can't be any. It certainly can't be any worse than when England tried to use Dan Lawrence as an opener. And I know that if Mr. Steve was in the chat or here right now, he'd agree with me on that.
Definitely, definitely. But the next one starts on Thursday. Um, another Sri Lanka one, or do New Zealand bounce back?
This could probably be a draw. but only if New Zealand improve their batting.
Mhm.
I don't know if I can see them eking out a win. So it could very well be
Yeah,
that Sri Lanka will do enough to secure the series.
if Sri Lanka win the series, that's a massive, massive um indictment to how bad New Zealand was. If I am using um the word correctly, but yeah, I think Sri Lanka do it, man. I think they do. I think they do. Um, so yeah, let's talk. Let's go with the woman. Australia woman are taking on New Zealand woman. We did spoke about it last week, and we said Australia would win, and it's currently 2-0. They need. Well, they have wrapped up the series. Let's look at let's just look through it all. New Zealand, Susie Bates, 33, in the first T20, and Maddie Green were the only standouts of the bat, both getting in the 30s. Total 143, and against this Australian team, that's never gonna be enough. You've got Beth Mooney there, not the best. Not the best. Elisa Ely also not the best from 17 and 13 respectively. Um, then Phoebe Lichtfield, I think is how you say it, and Annabelle Sutherland um, were the last two standing, but Georgia were with a 26, and Phoebe Lichtfield with 64. Getting that total of 154 in 18.4 overs, winning with 5 wickets. Australia woman, and then the second T20, they they chased no, they batted first, getting 142. And Elisa Ely 38, Elise Perry 34, 142 really only standouts there, with both getting in their 30s. Then Amelia Kerr for New Zealand got a 4 wicket haul in 4 overs. New Zealand woman 34, 21, 34 by Susie Bates, 21 by Maddie Green, 18 by Elizabeth Gaze. That's really the only ones, and that
Do you have
stood
a
out the
scorecard, please,
rest.
Boyd?
Sorry, second.
Can you share the
Oh,
scorecard,
16.
please? For some
Yeah,
reason,
apologies. So, yeah, there we go. For 142, 153, and then you add Alicia Gardner with 3 wickets. So, will it be a clean sweep? Is the ask. I think it will be. Uh, mm, I think it's gonna be a clean sweep. I don't know about you, Manny.
yeah, can't really see beyond an Australian win, and it's sad really because every time we see New Zealand play, we see a team which has two very senior players in Susie Bates and Sophie Devine, and a whole host of youngsters with not very much, not very many players in between. And they're going to go through a period of transition. And obviously, you know, Bates and Devine will retire. And so it will be up to Amelia Kerr and her older sister, Jess, her elder sister, I should say, and the other women in the team to try and take the White Ferns forward. And how they'll do that will remain to be seen, especially given that several of the other teams have many of the world's best players still at the peak of their powers. But every single game that they play from here on in will really only be a learning experience, and
Mm,
they can try and get something out of it. But I remember hoping that maybe they'd have their day in the sun and maybe snatch a win, but I'm not too sure I can see that happening, to be honest.
mm, definitely, definitely. So yeah, now it will be a transition period. Definitely will be. Um, so yeah. Well, let's then move on to India versus Bangladesh. So let me get that up. India versus Bangladesh. India. The biggest story from this test match is oh, there are a few actually, but Mr. Ravichandran Ashwan of 113 runs, 6 wickets, and 88 runs conceded. Russian Ravindra, um, magnificent. They were in a spot of border India on day one, um, with them being 144 for six. But step in Ravindra Jadeja and Ravi Chandran Ashwin to put on a magnificent partnership of 199 runs. Quick math there. Um, Almost a 200-run partnership between those two. Of course, both of them two Chennai boys, I believe. Um, and then, yeah, so that put that innings to 376. So yeah, and then bowling wise, Hassan Mahmood, with 5 wickets, 22 overs, 5 wickets, 83 runs. Tuscan Ahmed, another shining light for them, 3 wickets, 55 runs, 21 overs, 4 maiden. Sorry. Then Bangladesh, this is where they struggled off the bat. Nobody getting past 30 runs, so poor, very poor. Then, of course, first innings, it was about Akash Deep with his 2 wickets, and Wade got them with five, bowling five of his 2 wickets, and then Jasprit Bumrah making his return to Test cricket with 4 wickets, um, making it very, very easy for them. And so, yeah, but then we saw India, and it was India batting. They've got this massive lead already. Was the question, how far do India push this? They were like, we will handle the business, and it was the former Delhi boys. Well, one of the former Delhi boys, one is still at Delhi, Rishabh Pant and Shipman Gill. Shipman Gill 119 not out. Rishabh Pant 109. First test back from test cricket after after that terrible car accident. 109. Um, Sharma Jaiswal not really contributing alongside Kohli. Carroll getting the 22 runs, and then they declared. Um, then Bangladesh bowling wise did not do anything in that second in India innings, but Bangladesh with the bat, Najamal Hussain Shanto, I think so say his name, captain.
Najmal,
Has it with
Hussain Shanta.
there you go with a 82. The rest not really doing anything. Um, but 244 they got there. But of course, it was Russian Ravindra with 6 wickets, and then also Jadeja with 3 wickets, 15 overs, 2 made it. So, Ashwin and Jadeja special this test match alongside Pant and Gill playing a part-time role in there. So yeah, there was in the start of the test match being talked about how this pitch was looking like Australian type pitch, not really how India perform like typical Indian pitches. I didn't watch really the rest except that day one part, bit of day one. So I don't know how it played out the rest of the time, but one for India, no, they can't really complain. They're preparing well, and the next test match is on Friday, 27th of September. So, Manny, what did you make of the first test?
The Tigers were lambs to the slaughter. And let me also make it clear that at this particular point in time, Ashwin Ravichandran should be considered an all-rounder. He has more Test centuries than Wasim Akram, and
Jeez.
has certainly now shown that he can be counted on, at least at a Test level, to provide some very useful runs lower down the order. His off spin has always been very underrated. And I might be biased given that, he's a Tamil boy just like me. My parents are obviously are both Tamils. But he has been one person who, for all of his magnificent accomplishments, has been shunted around and never really given the credit that he rightly deserves. Um, we've often seen him dropped from teams because the coaching staff wanted a different type of spin combination. Maybe they felt as though he wasn't really suited for the match to be played that day. But every time you see him play, he comes back and proves people wrong. And Indian cricket owes him a great deal of gratitude, a huge debt, and they're going to miss him when he's gone. It's also interesting as well how it was India's pacers, Bumrah, Siraj, and Akash deep. You could say that Akash and company had the Tigers deep in trouble. I know I do that. It was ridiculous, I know. And then when it came to the fourth innings, deteriorating pitch, who are you going to call? Your spin bowlers. Bangladesh quite
Mm,
simply had no clue. And for the likes of Mushfiqur Rahim and Shakib Al Hassan, it really is starting to feel like the end of the road. The only problem
definitely
is
not.
there aren't too many people who can replace them. And there's the pity.
Yeah, that is unfortunately that was reality from a Bangladeshi perspective. But yeah, sorry, Ashwin of 600, 1450, so almost 50% of his 50s is converted into 100. So for somebody that bats that low, it's not bad. It's definitely not bad. Um, so yeah, but next test match, I expect almost the same. I think it will be a bit closer, but I'm expecting India to win.
Yep. Can't really say too much about that. I wouldn't be surprised if this one ends up a clean sweep. And,
Mm,
as I said, the Tigers are just lambs waiting to be slaughtered, really.
true.
And you can talk about the home advantage and how it's always skewed in favor of India, but those are sour grapes. I think it's fair to say that this Indian team does have an excellent all-round bowling attack for the first time in a very long time. It has to be said. And what's also quite pleasing is that when Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli have failed, other batsmen have stepped up to be counted. So that can only augur well for the future of Indian cricket going forward, especially since Virat Kohli also is in a situation where his days are counting. We don't know how long Sharma will go on for. And obviously, given that they had taken the bold step of culling Ajinkya Rahane and Cheteshwar Pujara from the team, these youngsters who've come in have had to really step up and prove their worth, and they've done that. So I'd say the Indian Test
Mm.
team is in pretty good health right.
No, definitely is, definitely is. But let's then move on to England versus Australia. Of course, the T20 series was drawn. ODI series, it's been all Australia. Manic, could you share just your screen because I might have to just go off for 2 seconds and just share your screen instead of
The
me
problem
sharing it.
is,
Oh yeah,
this is
you on your phone? Okay, no worries, no worries. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No worries. Yeah, yeah. Let me.
let me see if I can try some. Hold on a minute, please.
No, no, it's no problem. It's no problem. I will just control it. So first ODI, England put up a valiant effort of 315, but it was Australia just dismantled this total. Looking there, um, Travis had 154 minus Labuschagne 77. Or no, I'm gonna call him by his real surname. Minus Labuschagne. South African. Marnus Labuschagne. Let's call him by South African. So yeah. Travis had almost getting half of the runs, just short of that. Bowling wise for Australia, Zampa and Labuschagne standing out. Yeah, and then England batting, it was Ben Duckett with a 95, Will Jackson for 62, and the rest not pulling their weight, um, unfortunately. And Travis Head got it. The EOS got 2 wickets, so shout out to Travis Head. Then the second ODI, Australia batted first this time, put up 270. Um, really poor total, to be honest. Bowled out in 44 overs. You're thinking 270. Come on, England, this is your chance, man. Starring in that batting for Australia was Alex Carroll of 74, Mitchell Marsh for 60. Um, and then bowling wise, it was Bryden Cars case with 3 wickets. 10 overs alongside Adil Rashid and Jacob Bethwell with 2 wickets.
Yep.
And then England, um, um, then England, nobody really stepping up except Jamie Smith with 49. So yeah, so yeah. Manning, talk to me. How can England come back into the series, or is it just quality? Too much quality right now in that says that team for from Australia.
Well, best thing that we possibly can do is to try and bring back some of our better fast bowlers. I wouldn't see any reason why Archer or Atkinson couldn't come into the team and do a better job. And as far as the batting is concerned, it's the same old failings over and over again. You can get rid of the likes of Joe Root. You can have Ben Stokes not play a part. And somehow or another, we always find a way to fall apart like a pack of cards. That's the way it is, boy. It's And the sad part is not even Brookie was able to stand up to be counted as captain. And you also now get to see how much the team really misses the senior stars. Forget about Ruti and Stokes, who probably might not be seen in limited overs play for England again. Joss Butler, what a big loss he is as captain and as opening batsman. And a lot of work is going to have to be done. I do see some changes being made by the home team, of course. And they're going to have to act really quickly, and they're going to have to analyze very quickly what went wrong. And this is also going to be another problem of having Brendan McCullum take over all three formats. How does he even think of being able to work with two different pools of players? It just won't really make sense. It won't be sustainable. Can he work well with Joss Butler once he comes back into the team? Is he able to encourage the likes of Phil Salt and company to play their game? Jamie Smith has done well as a batsman so far. Is he really up to it as a wicketkeeper? Why not give Phil Salt the gloves? There are more questions than answers. As far as Australia is concerned, well, they're the ODI world champions for a reason. And even without Pat Cummins in their team, Mitchell Marsh has led the team well, scored runs. The bowlers have been sharp and incisive and accurate. Maybe when Nathan Lyon was talking about predicting a 5-0, he was talking about this ODI series, not the upcoming Ashes series under time
Maybe.
from now.
Who knows? But I think Australia just
Back
has
to the
so
drawing
much
board
quality.
for England, I'm afraid.
I think it's just Australia have so much quality. If you look at that lineup, Matthew Short, Trevor Tate, Mitchell Marsh, Steve Smith, Martin Sloboscachny, Alex Carey, Glenn Maxwell, Aaron Hardy. That's 8 batters, yeah. 8 batters. Mind you, Aaron Hardy bats on in the top slash middle order for the Melbourne Renegades, I believe. And he is batting at number 8 for for them. So this is just too much quality for from Australia. So doesn't matter what England do, it's just too much quality, unfortunately. I think this might be the five. I think one rains out. Surely one rains out. But then again, it is an ODI would have to rain for a lot. But yeah, for 1 or 5 no for me. I think this ends. So yeah, but just going to check Mr. B if he mentioned something. He asked. Oh, okay. We'll see. Um, okay, but then let's move on. No worries, no worries. Let me just mute the mic. Okay, so yeah, let's move on to the last two topics, and it includes my great team, the Proteas. Um, the first one it is Afghanistan versus South Africa, of course. Afghanistan beat us. They won a series against us. Very poor. Very poor. I maybe have to hold some corn. I say the squad is good enough, but clearly it wasn't. The spinners of Afghanistan, oh, they dictated this game, and we just didn't have enough. It's really poor from us to lose an ODI, just one game against Afghanistan, to lose a series against them. That's even worse, man. Like we have to ask questions, big questions on the selection, the selection of teams. Why didn't we take some of our better players? Or was this just because we wanted to get some of these youngsters some experience? And fair enough. Okay, I get it. Fair enough. We move on. But come on, come on. We have to do better. The third one they rotated, we won fair. So really poor, man. Really, really poor. And I don't know where we go from there. We've got Ireland next. Might have to just include that into one banner. 1 second, Pete.
Yep, I'm back. And I did mention, Boet, that you shouldn't have been too hasty in predicting
Yeah.
whitewash because this Afghanistan team have been going from strength to strength. Also, what must really get your goat is that the coach of Afghanistan happens to be one Ian Jonathan Leonard
Jonathan.
Trott from Cape Town.
Yeah.
Played
Yeah.
games for the Western
I
Province.
realize.
Of course, is now
Nah,
played some
it's
games, of course, for the Western Province, but and the Cape or the Cape Province, as you would call it. But now, of course, had a wonderful international career with England, and is now coach of Afghanistan. And of course, that coaching position was supposed to be taken by Graham Thorpe, Lord rest his soul, but sadly, now we know that due to a very severe health issue, he couldn't take it, and we all know the reason. But what a wonderful job Trotty has done with that team. And they're going from
mm,
strength to strength. Even if you take a look at the likes of Mohamed Nabi, who you think should be on his last legs, he's still able to contribute. And, you know, with other players
mm,
like Hasbatullah Shahidi, Rashid Khan, you know, they're also developing a lot more in terms of talent. And more of their cricketers are also getting to play in competitive T20 leagues around the world and sharpening their skills. This wasn't going to be much of a surprise in and of itself, but I would have liked to have thought that the Proteas would have provided more stiff opposition. Sadly, it just wasn't the case.
and the mad thing is, I said we the squad is good enough, but clearly I underestimated Afghanistan. I just didn't think Afghanistan would beat us in an ODI. T20, fair enough. ODI, 50 overs. It's crazy. It's mind blowing to me. Um, so yeah, man. But Manny, if you can just quickly, quick,
Yeah.
just 1 second.
Well, Hanno has
Yeah,
gone off the
yeah.
stream right now. Ah,
Wait,
there you are.
just yeah, just Ireland T20 squad, and we'll listen to you with South Africa. So let me zoom out. Can you? Yeah, you probably can't see that. Okay. Um, but okay, I will just share that quickly. Just go through it for me and South Africa as well.
Yeah, I will. So, yeah, just remember that I don't know if I can scroll. I see the names at the top of the order. Obviously, the batters include Ross Adair and Harry Tector and Lorcan Tucker, who've been around for quite some time now. Certainly have a bit of experience. Neil Rock is a new wicketkeeper batsman, quite young, at about 23 years, I think, soon to be 24, and can certainly lend a bit of weight to that team. And I see the all-rounders. Paul Sterling obviously has a big role to play for this team still. The limited overs captain, of course. and Mark Adair, another all-rounder who also bats fairly high up the order. I don't know if this Ireland team will do enough to cause a huge shock to the system, so we will have to sort of see how well they can handle everything. What I'm going to do is I'm also going to try to get the page on my end and see if I can share it, but you will understand, Boyd, that it's not very easy trying to operate everything from my mobile phone. Just give me a few minutes and let me see if I can do anything here. Oh, thank you for doing that. Well, now going down the all-rounders list, there is Curtis Camphor and Gareth Delaney, along with George Dockrell. Also have been around for quite some time. Finn Hand, I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm gonna have to make sure I get the I get it right, because obviously the Irish names can be deceptively difficult to pronounce, but seems to be good there. And there might be some new faces among the buzzers. Obviously, Matthew Humphreys is a newcomer, definitely. Hume has been around for a bit of time. Ben White, no, not that Ben White, not that Benny Blanco, that loser who considers himself too good to play for England, and another one as well. So obviously, you take a look at the Irish team, they've maintained more or less the core of the team that has served them for many years, several years now. And if they can get themselves together, I don't see why they can't cause some problems. But I don't think we can expect them to nick a win off the Proteas, although given the way Afghanistan have played and how South Africa have been found wanting, you never know. Cricket's a funny old game, eh? Boyd, are you there? I think he's not. So obviously he will be back and he will read the South African squad. And I want to make sure I mentioned all of the players. I don't know if I did. I might have missed one because sort of got changed before I could finish. And I think it's quite fair to say that when it comes to this South African team, they're still not quite the best at handling the spinners. So the likes of George Dockrell and others will definitely have a role to play. And if they can keep their accuracy, they could cause quite a few problems. I think South Africa also are going to have to take a look at their own team selections, and then we will see how they do. And another reminder, people, whenever you want to go on streams, always make sure that your PC or your laptop is in proper, pristine working condition. Having to join in on your mobile phone, even with the Wi-Fi connection and not mobile data, or mobile data, as Hanno might say, is a pain. Just as well that we are in fact recording this stream and not really streaming it live due to certain circumstances. And clearly there will be some issues with South Africa's team. I'm sure Hanno has made clear in streams gone by that he does not rate Tenda Bavuma as a limited overs batsman. And yeah, the other Irish bowler is Craig Young, 34 years old. So he's also pretty much been around for quite a bit. So, as I've said, a reasonably experienced Irish team with a few more youngsters added. And they could cause South Africa a few problems, but in all likelihood, this should be a series that South Africa must expect to win. And obviously, we will take a look at the South African T20 squad once he comes back. I'm going to try and make sure I can get to that, but yeah, just another reminder. You can see the ticker down there. Do please like this video and subscribe to the channel and get notifications for any and all upcoming streams. We do a lot of good stuff here on this channel: cricket, football, some rugby, and maybe 2 other sports if need be. Instagram, Hanno_coach_corner. Twitter, Hanno70830030. And TikTok at Coaches Corner 1. And well, it looks as though Hanno's back because he's controlling it. Hanno, if you can hear me, maybe you can read the you can read everything now if you're there. Actually, he can't. Real pain working with your mobile phone. And obviously, as I've mentioned, Dockrell will have a role to play, but Lorcan Tucker is also going to be very important as a batsman. I mean, Dockrell does bowl left-arm spin, but he's also a pretty good batsman. Mark Adair and Craig Young, the fast bowlers, they'll be expected to play a big role at the very beginning of the innings. And so whoever opens, it might be Aidan Markram and some other gentleman, I don't know who. If Hanno were here, he'd have the lowdown on everything. No, I don't want Sri Lanka. Let me see if this works this time around. Yes, finally. And obviously, with a lot of the data, I mean, not the Wi-Fi being used to work with the stream, it's also going to be very difficult for me to try and get something here. But I do have the South Africa T20 international squad.
I'm back. Sorry about that.
No issues, no issues. I was just ad-libbing, really, and I was almost about to share the South African T20 squad. I've gone through the Irish one, but if you can
I
take
don't
over,
think there
Bert,
is
that would
one.
be.
I don't
Huh?
think there is one because I tried to click on it and it doesn't come up. So I don't think we have one announced as of yet. So
Okay, so I'll ask you this question then. I'll ask you this question. Obviously, you've seen the ODI series played against Afghanistan and going over the scorecards they haven't made for very pretty reading. I know that you've also made it crystal clear that you do not rate Tender Baruma as limited overs opener at the very least. What changes do you think will be made for the Irish series?
Yeah.
Hello?
Wait. Sorry. Say again. Got out.
Yeah. My question is obviously, you take a look at the South African team that's been playing
Mhm.
against Afghanistan. What changes do you think will be made to the squad before you take on Ireland? Because I think
I
changes
think
do
they,
need to be made.
I think there will be one or two more experienced guys coming in. Maybe a Miller or Clausen coming in. To strengthen the batting order, and maybe Shamsi coming in as well. Um, so yeah, but I don't expect much changes from the squad that faced Afghanistan in the ODIs. So yeah, uh,
Well,
I,
that's well,
so yeah,
just as
but
well, I would
uh,
say. But just about to say that clearly, after the debacle against Afghanistan, you boys really need to restore your reputation, as it were.
no, we definitely have to. So yeah,
Okay.
no, we have to, man. Let's look. Yeah, Risa Hendricks. I don't know about Risa Hendricks. Don't know about him. He needs to fix up and turn up. So yeah. I just want to check when is the ODIs. Next week. Next week. Okay, so not bad. Not bad. So yeah. I think we should clean sweep Ireland. Let's be honest. So yeah.
Be careful. You said you'd clean sweep Afghanistan.
Hmm.
You all right? You're silent now.
So yeah, but I think that's it really to talk about. Yeah, we need to respond and we must. CPL is going on. Pakistan England is 7th, so still a time to go. So yeah, wait, when is the 7th? Not next. Oh, 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Ah, let's go. So yeah, but that's then
And
it.
obviously,
Money, where can people find you?
the big headline, of course, from that test series is the first two tests will now be played at the same venue in Multan. So hopefully, England will have mentally prepared well for that. But as you say, Bud, it's time to end it. And if you want to catch me on my
Yeah.
socials, it is Manny Thangadorai 1981 on Instagram, Thangadorai 1981 on Twitter. And obviously, you can catch me here on the Coach's Corner, but also on several other channels like Del Boy Gunner TV, Oris Talks Football, where we will be having a stream to discuss the game week that's just gone by. Big up to Warren's Team Talk. I did a stream with him earlier today where we were discussing the win that wasn't against Manchester City and where we go from here and the problems associated with the club. Also, big up to Up the Cherries in all departments, Huddersfield Town Fan TV, Gun Down UK, Southern Gooner, Spurs Eurasia TV, Rich Sports, Football United, Tony Claude Gunner TV, Danny AC TV, Football Overseas, Mr. B Talks in Chats England Cricket, and Mr. B Hyper Football Chat, The Buzz, and several other channels, of course, where you can find me. And if you can't see my face, you get to hear my voice, supposedly the voice of the radio. I appreciate the compliment. And
So
thanks
yeah,
again to Hanno for making this happen. I do apologize for the inconvenience to this my mobile phone. Another reminder, people, do not join in streams unless you have a working computer. It is a real hassle using your mobile phone. But I'll see you all soon, and all I can say is Danke once again, Boet.
yeah, everybody that watched, appreciate it. Socials, YouTube, Coach's Corner. If you're listening on Spotify, do make sure to subscribe. Come over to YouTube, subscribe. Instagram, Hanu underscore Coach underscore Corner, and then Twitter, Hanu underscore Coach Corner. So yeah, and then TikTok, Coach Corner One. Yeah, everybody, and then we will see you all in a bit. Cheers.